Hello and welcome to Indelible Gaming. I'm Tommy, and today a lot of you have been asking me all kinds of questions about how to set up the Astro A40 TRs, especially to your console and to your PC and kind of stuff like that. So I'm going to answer some of your guys' questions in video format and show you some more stuff that I have learned since I have had them now for a lot longer. Alright, so starting off, I just want to get this out of the way nice and early. I haven't tested with the stream settings whatsoever. I don't really ever stream to Twitch, and by ever, I mean probably the last time I did it was like 6 months ago. And I usually don't record videos with other people's voices either, so I haven't really tested that as much either. I go into what I think will work, but I don't know if it actually will or not. So one question that I know I got wrong on my actual other videos that I've done is this is a 7.1, not a 5.1 when you use it on your computer and on your Xbox. They do that through Dolby Pro Logic 2X. What that means is that it reads an incoming 5.1 signal and then it upscales it to 7.1 surround sound. So it is 7.1. I'm not going to go as fully into depth into this as I did in my previous videos for my setup videos, so if you really need like a full visual representation, go watch the beginning, middle, or end of those depending on the setup, and you'll learn more. But I'm just going to go through this really quick. Also, if you see me looking over in this direction, that's because that's where my camera is, and that's how I can see what is actually in front of me and what's not. I'm going to go over a quick little review of how to get this all set up in case you haven't set this up before or you're having questions or whatever. If you need a lot more in-depth, I go a little more in-depth in my setup video, which I will put up an annotation right now for that. But really, it should make a lot of sense the way that I'm about to show you. So, right now, we're going to go into several different ways to set up the Astro Mix Amp to work on your computer and on your Xbox at the same time. All of us have different setups. All of us want to do different types of things. So a lot of these may or may not apply to you. So the first one I'm going to set up super easy. And what I'm going to do is literally this one is just so you can talk on Skype or Team Chat or whatever program you use on your PC while getting sound from your Xbox One. So the setup is as follows. So here's the Astro Mix Amp. On the bottom here, we have the headphone microphone, which is attached to this guy. We've got the USB. This end goes in here. Then the other end goes into your PC, any USB slot on your PC. And then this guy right here is your optical cable. So that is going to be running into your Xbox. Now we need to go over and switch some settings on our actual computer. And then we'll be back for the other types of setups. Since we're just wanting to get sound through the Xbox and then we're wanting to be able to talk and everything on Skype and stuff like that, the correct settings that you're supposed to set up that Astro says is you're supposed to go to Headphones, Astro Mix Amp Pro Game. You're going to right click this. You're going to select that as your default device. I don't want to do that because I use this as my default device. But you're going to want to do that, and then you're going to set this as your default communications device. I already have that, so I don't have the option. Then you're going to go over to recording over here. You're going to go to 4, Astro Mix Amp Pro Voice. You're going to set that as your default device. So you're all set on the actual computer things. Now the only thing would be to go over to your Skype settings. Alright, so we've gone into Skype, we've gone to Tools, and then Options, and then it'll pop up this window. So you're going to go to Audio Settings, and then right here it's going to say Headset Microphone, or not, well, I don't know what it's going to say, but you need to select Headset Microphone for Astro Mix Amp Pro Voice, and then over here you're going to go to Headset Earphone for Astro Mix Amp Pro Voice. This is going to allow you to use the little dial on your mix amp to change the volumes and everything like that. So now you've turned on your Xbox, you're getting sound from your Xbox, you're also all set for talking and communicating on Skype or whatever program you use to chat, and that's all. That's all you need to do. What happens if we want to hear our computer sound, talk on Skype or TeamSpeak or something on our computer, and also hear sounds coming from the Xbox One? Well, because the micro or the digital optical cable, the SPIF cable, takes priority, what we need to do here is we need to do some changes on the actual computer. The setup is going to be the same. This USB is going to go into your computer. This cable is going to be going into your Xbox, and then of course on the bottom here, you've got your cable that's going into your headset. So there's also two different ways that we can set this up. One, if you don't have an auxiliary cable, then you literally just leave your mix amp exactly like this. If you do have an auxiliary cable and you want a little more control over your different sounds, then you're going to have to pick up a 3.5 millimeter cord and plug that into the bottom of your headset right next to where it says aux. So you're going to plug it right into that aux port. So in this case, it would be like that. So the cables, all the cables that you would be having, even though you can't see it super well, would be your USB, your digital optical cable, the cable that goes to your headset, and then a USB cable or a 3.5 millimeter auxiliary cable. This 3.5 millimeter auxiliary cable would be going into your computer. And then from here, we got to switch some settings. The only reason why you would want to use a 3.5 millimeter cable over just using the USB in port is because when you're trying to mix your sound using this guy, if you have your settings, your default settings on what I'm about to show you in this next part, it just is going to make it harder for you to mix your sound together to get it right for people's voices. So that's why I recommend using a 3.5 millimeter cable to your computer so you can hear stuff. So that way, you're not dealing with constantly trying to move this because your music is too loud or whatever, or getting the right mix. You can change the volume on your computer for your music or whatever you're listening to, and then use this to change the volume of your chat versus the game volume. So let's dive into that, what we need to do on the computer now. We're wanting sound, and we're wanting Xbox sound at the same time while also talking on Skype or something like that. So let's go into the settings. So if you don't have a 3.5 millimeter auxiliary cable plugged in, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make sure you go to headset earphone for Astro Mixamp Pro Voice. You're going to make sure that this is set as the default device and the default communication device. That means that any sound that is coming on your computer is going to go through and into your headset. The problem and the reason why I don't always recommend this is because that's going to throw off all of your mixing. So if you're playing music and your music is louder than the people you're talking to, then you're not going to be able to use the little dial on your mix amp to get everything right, because when you change that, the volume from your computer itself isn't ever going to change. And that's why I recommend using a 3.5 millimeter jack, but I'll go into those settings here in 1 second. So we've done that, we're using the USB, that's it. So we're going to go into Skype because that's the example I use, and that's usually what I use. I've changed to a different program recently, but I'll show you Skype because it's the easiest to explain. So you're going to go to Tools, Options, and then you're going to get this little icon that shows up. You're going to go over to Audio Settings. You're going to set your headset microphone for Astro Mixamp Pro Voice. That's what you're going to set it as. So headset microphone for Astro Mixamp Pro Voice. You're going to do, for speakers, headset earphone for Astro Mixamp Pro Voice. And then that way, you're going to be able to hear all the people that are talking on your Skype or TeamSpeak or whatever you're talking on. And you're also going to be able to hear music or whatever else you're doing on your computer itself. So what if you plugged in the actual 3.5 millimeter auxiliary cable? So instead of clicking this as your default device, you're still going to want to click this for your default communications device, but not your default device. You're going to go down and probably going to be your speakers, high definition audio, or one of these guys, and you're going to set that as your default. So whenever you plug in a normal headset or something directly into your computer, or your speakers or whatever it is, you're going to set that as your default because that's where the sound's going to be coming from. What this allows you to do is go into your sound, and then you're able to actually move it up and down. Can't actually change this because my computer is freaking out. So you could change the volume there, and then that way that prevents you having to change the volume on your Astro Mix amp. And that way you can use the small knob to be able to change the volume of people that you're talking to on Skype and stuff like that. So what settings do you need to set on your actual Skype controls? So you're going to go to Tools, Options, and then it's going to pop up this guy. You're going to go to Audio Settings. For microphone, you're going to do Headset Microphone for Astro Mix Amp Pro Voice. And then for speakers, you're going to do Headset Earphone for Astro Mix Amp Pro Voice as well. So you might be asking the question of why don't I choose the same thing that I chose earlier for my overall sound? Well, the reason why you do that is because if you do that, when you're trying to mix everything, it's going to throw everything together. So you're going to lose the control that you just gained. So that's why you separate these. So this means that you're only able to adjust the sound of the people that you're talking to, and then you're going to use this setting and the different sound settings of, as you can see in the corner, because I use my mouse to change these controls, of whether you want it to be loud or quiet or whatever. So you use this for your music settings, and then you'd use the small knob and this for your chat settings. Question that I've gotten from a lot of people is, what if I don't even want to use this Astro Mix amp for the Xbox? Well, you don't have to. What I usually do is I switch out my optical cables, is how I kind of run everything. Is I've always got my USB into my computer, so I can always use the microphone because I use this microphone for recordings and stuff like that all the time, and then also to talk on Skype and TeamSpeak or whatever. And then I switch my digital optical cable depending on what I'm playing. So if I'm playing a computer game, I have a separate digital optical cable that runs from my computer into here, and then I just set that as my default device instead of setting the other thing as my default device. So let me go into the computer real fast, and I'll show you what I mean. And what I mean by swapping is like, so this white one, for example, is the one that I use for my Xbox One. So if I want to hear Xbox One sound, I would be plugging this in, and then that way I don't hear anything on my computer. Or I do the settings that I showed you previously if I do want to hear computer sound for a little bit. And then if I want to just hear computer sound, this, even though you can't really see it because it's not very long and I don't want to unplug it from the back of my computer because there's a bunch of wires back there, is the one that I use for my computer sound because I think it gives me a little bit better sound than just through the USB itself. I don't know if that's actually true or not, but that is the decision that I came to. So let's dive into the actual computer parts. You're wanting to use different digital optical cables, one for your computer and one for your Xbox One, like I do. So the settings that you're going to want to do on your computer itself, you're going to go in to your sound settings, playback devices. You're going to open this guy up. So right here you can see I'm using the Audio Advantage Micro 2. This is actually my optical audio cable. So I'm going to set that as my default device so I can hear all of my computer sound. And then I'm going to set this as my communications device. I'm going to go over to recording. I'm going to set this as my default device as well. And then that way, that allows me to talk on my computer and then hear sound on my computer as well. On Skype, what that looks like is when you go to Tools and then Options, it's going to pop up this guy. You go to Audio Settings. For your microphone, you're going to do Headset Microphone for Astro Mix Amp Pro Voice. For Headset Earphone, you're going to do for Astro Mix Amp Pro Voice as well. The reason why you don't check, say, like Audio Advantage Micro 2 is because that prevents you from mixing with the little knob on your mix amp. So that's why you leave these here. And then your computer sound and stuff would be your master volume, so your big one that you can change. So that's how you set that up. So how do I make a recording if I'm streaming or I a YouTuber myself or something like that, and I'm trying to set everything up. Like I said, I don't really know. I haven't done a whole lot of research into it or tested anything out. From what I think would work, I'll show you that really quick. We're going to start by updating the Astro Command Center on the computer. Then I'm going to show you some of the Astro Command Center things that you can toy with. And then we're going to go into some of the settings on the computer as well. And hopefully, for the most part, that'll show you guys enough so you can figure it out yourself. So let's cut to that now. Here we are on the actual dashboard itself. I don't know where I actually put my Astro Command Center, so I'm going to type that in to the search bar and open it up. So it looks like I've got an update, so I'll need to do that after this recording because I don't want to mess everything up. So if you have an update, make sure you're updating your Astro Mix amp. Definitely important. It's going to help you guys out. So make sure you update that right here. For you of those that are curious, this is the settings that I use for my setting that I changed everything. I think it sounds better than their presets. I'm probably crazy. So if you wanted to copy that, you can. You can pause it. This is the other settings that I have set up in case you're curious. So the stream port, for those of you who are wanting to do recordings and stuff like that, this is going to be everything for you. So your stream output, this is going to be your game sound, this is going to be the chat volume of the people that you're discussing with or whatever on your TeamSpeak, this is going to be your own microphone, and then your auxiliary port would be if you have anything else coming into your mix amp or something like that, or a phone or music or whatever you want to call it. Makes sense? So, I know a few of you have said that your microphone is super loud, or they're getting an echoing or something like that. I'm pretty sure if you would mute your microphone there, it would make it so you're not echoing anymore. And then also adjusting volumes of, oh, the chat audio isn't loud, so bring that up. I don't know. Like I said, I don't stream, so that's something you guys are going to have to figure out yourself. But once you've updated all this, is if you go over here to playback devices, and then, so you're going to want to make sure that your headset earphone default communication device is the 4 Astro Mix Amp Pro voice. Your actual default itself is going to change depending on your own setup, so you're going to have to figure out that stuff out yourself based off of the previous information that I've given you. And then here, for your, under the recordings tab, your headset microphone is going to be Astro Mix Amp Pro voice for your default device. Then in the actual Skype things, this is where, or your recordings, or whatever it is that you use to record your gameplay and you talk to people, this is where things are going to get a little more complicated. So, to get to that, you go to Tools, Options, then it'll pop this up. You go to Audio Settings. So this is it. So my headset microphone right here is what you normally have it on, which means that I'm talking, that you're only hearing my microphone. So if I stop talking, this bar is going to go to 0. While I'm talking, it's going to go up. So, and then this is going to stay the same. So this is the setting that you're going to probably have to change on your recording device or whatever. I'm using Skype as an example, just so you guys can figure it out. This is also, you could set this up so you can hear the people on Skype that you're talking to. So I'm going to open up Google Play Music just to show you guys a point. You guys are going to be able to hear it no matter what, because since I'm using a screen capture, it's also recording the audio for my device, or at least I'm pretty sure that's the reason, because right now, like, I'm not on a Skype call and I'm not recording a Skype call, so none of this is what you're actually hearing. You're hearing me from different directions of different programs that I'm using to do this. So this is more for like demonstration purposes of it's going to work a little differently when you actually do it in real time for yourself, but I just wanted to make that perfectly clear here. So I'm going to go over to Google Play Music. So here we are on Google Play. I love Pentatonics. They're ridiculous. And if anybody's going to copyright my video, I would want it to be them. So if I play a song, you're going to be able to hear it right now because, like I said, because my screen capture. But say this was the stream setting, you'd be able to hear this music, but nobody else would. So here we are sitting here. If I stop talking, this is what you need to pay attention to, is this thing right here of the volumes that are coming through. So if I stop talking, it's at 0. Whereas when I switch over to line 4, you're going to be able to see when I stop talking, you're going to see the bar moving, and that's because it's picking up the music. And then if I talk really loud, you'll see that bar go up further than it would normally go up, which means that it's recording both of the sounds. And that is what you're going to have to change on your recording device, whether that be an Elgato or whatever it is that you use to record your settings or your streamer or whatever. You're going to want to make sure that you're clicking line 4 because that's going to be the out audio that you're allowing everything out to be. And that's the example I was trying to make. So hopefully that is clear and you can understand what I'm talking about, even though in the actual process that you just saw here, it was a little more confusing because you were hearing the sound all the time. But yeah, that is all I can think of to help try to fix your guys' issues with streaming. Alright, so hopefully that answered most of your guys' questions on how to set things up. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a dislike. And of course, if you've been following my content for a while, please subscribe. I will catch you on the next one. See ya!